And so next, we have the goddess of why we are all here today, the great connector, the event producer, and also the multidimensional channel and ascension energy activator. And she knows that every time I get to say her name, it is like singing an opera. It's the most beautiful name God created, Althea Lucrezia Avanzo. And so, yes, she's a multidimensional healer. She's a light language channeler. Anyone who's experienced her before knows the potency that comes out of her to individuals and to groups. And she specializes in high frequency energy work, timeline clearing, and psychic activation. We are so lucky to have the woman who is putting on this event for all of us today on Lionsgate, Altea, here today. Welcome.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Debbie. And thank you everyone who is here, who has stayed here, who has just come on, who is seeing this from the recording. We've had a beautiful turnout. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. You know, these things wouldn't be possible without your love, your support. So just really taking a few moments to express my gratitude. And thank you, Ishmael, for that beautiful galactic history and historical breakdown. As Debbie was saying, I was also noticing this incredible flow of activation information and all of that mixing together. So, with regards to me, okay, and you guys, again, you're always welcome to ask questions within the chat. I do have it open, so if something comes up that you want me to talk while I'm talking, if it's, if I can, I will try to answer it on the spot. Alternatively, we do have a little bit of Q&A time allocated at the end. So for those of you who know me and who have followed me, you guys will know I don't really plan ever much what to talk about, just because the frequency changes and shifts so much. So within the span of the last 12 hours, I have been told about 5 different topics to tackle. So I am going to do my best to bring a balance of information, the activation, and practical advice. So those of you who know, who have worked with me before, you know how I focus a lot on the practical, the here, the now, and exactly, to quote Ishmael's words, like, you all have a channel. You're all able to connect to your guides, to your higher versions of self. You're all able to bring through this information in your own individual way. Like, we're not special. We've just been doing it for longer and we do it a lot. So we're better at it. Do you know what I mean? But it's like a sport, like exercise, like everything. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So starting on that note, I want to really start by bringing awareness to how to create your reality and how you can really harness and amplify the energy and the vibrational frequency that comes through within these celestial and numerological events that can be, the 8/8, the 11/11. I mean, the full moon tomorrow, and I want to also speak about something very briefly, because I saw that this was a thing, and I don't really get involved in like commenting and saying, oh, this is this, that is that. But I did see someone who posted recently saying that the astrology has shifted and has changed and this and that and whatnot. So I just want to tell you guys that none of it really matters. A portal will amplify the energy that you already carry and that you choose to work with. So never let someone say, I think this person had written like, oh, the portal is like negative. Like, the portal isn't anything. The portal is just a portal. You are the sovereign being. You are the co-creator of your reality, of the energy of the portal, of your future, of the decisions that you're making, and really bringing the attention back to this space of unconditional love, but also the space of sovereignty, because we are walking into an era as humanity, where we are reclaiming back our sovereignty, and whatever that means for you on an individual level. It might be different for everyone. For someone, it might be leaving their job. For someone else, it might be learning to say no to their parents. For someone else, it might be, I don't know, trying bungee jumping, whatever it is, it really is about claiming back the sovereignty and claiming back your life and your sovereignty within the decision making, and you apply that to every aspect of your life. If something doesn't resonate that someone says, like, and it's not because they're saying it on a screen or on a television or in a book that they are right and you're not. You know your own compass better than anyone. This is a perfect physical machine that we have, that we work with. So really, coming back to this understanding that you are a master co-creator being of your reality. You're an infinite being of light. And so, yeah, and so really, really owning that, okay? The day you understand that, the day you become consciously aware that you are a master co-creator being, is the day that everything shifts. Because there needs to be a perception shift. You can think, oh, I'm a master co-creator being, but if you don't believe it, it's not going to work, guys. You're going to struggle to manifest. You're going to struggle to anchor into a high vibrational frequency timeline. You're going to struggle to step into your soul's purpose and your soul's mission, okay? It's really an understanding of I think, therefore I am. And I'm sure that a lot of like philosophers, theosophists, psychologists have said this before. Again, I don't have a scientific background. My information is channeled and is what comes through from my own cognitive understanding, from my own experience in this lifetime and in many other ones as well, okay? The consciousness that you are experiencing is your own. Therefore, you are the co creator being of your reality. And you need to understand that imagination is a very powerful tool, probably the most powerful tool that you have, and that you can use. Okay. Imagination is like seeing through the eyes of source consciousness, it's like seeing through the eyes of the master co creator being. And again, anchoring into this belief that you have these powers. Okay. Um, and using mantras or things like, I operate my reality. I am operating the power of my reality. Understanding that you are seeing the world through the eyes of source consciousness, through the master creator being. And this is a perfect example that you can understand, that gets given sometimes. It's basically, there's a lake. Okay, there's a lake like of water or the ocean or whatever, and you are a drop of it, which is, your soul that leaves source consciousness and chooses to experience itself and keep on incarnating. But you are also the whole lake. So at any given point in time, you can tune back into that and access the infinite abyss of information that is source consciousness. And this explains also why, there's thousands of people that say, oh, no, I was Jesus, I was Buddha, I was Allah, I was this, I was that. And it's maybe some of them, have lived that incarnation, but they are tapping into a collective consciousness of memories that is the source consciousness that has all the memories, all the understanding, all the past, parallel, previous, future, multidimensional timelines operating on the different multidimensional densities, okay? And you can also imagine, obviously being this master co-creator sovereign being, you can also imagine your system and energy field like an antenna. Okay. And you can tune that antenna into whatever frequency. You can tune into the frequency of, like a pencil if you want to. Everything is consciousness, everything is frequency, everything has a particular imprinted frequency that is associated with it. And once you learn to tune into that, you can channel anything. You can channel the being of a crystal. So I've got quite a few different ones here that help me out. So this is a very beautiful being made from the stone called lapis lazuli. I've got a lyran being here that's made with rose quartz. So you know what I mean? It's you can really learn to tune into anything, okay? And going back to kind of like this imagination, this seeing, this operating from the space of knowledge that you are a master co-creator being of your reality, imagination, and something quite important, which is assumption, can actually create your reality. So it's not just the seeing it, the visualization, it's also the knowing. And that's really where we then move into the 0 point neutrality and the theory, of 0 point neutrality. So again, for those of you who have worked with me, you will know this. For those of you who haven't, this is something that I like to explain and give examples. And this is a space that a lot of people address in different ways. So if you think of the sadhus in India, they talk, I think, about samadhi. So this 0 point neutrality space is a space where you can reach with deep meditation. And once you're meditating, and then you get to a space where you don't have thoughts, you don't have worries, there's nothing. You're just neutral. Okay. You are outside the constraints of duality and polarity. So, again, Neil at the beginning of this gave a very logical and practical explanation of the dimensional densities. Now, I want to explain them to you in a way that, is similar to his, but helps you understand beyond the constraints of space and time. So, dimensions have different densities. Okay, the higher the dimension, the lower the density. Okay, so when you go up higher, the vibrational frequency raises, the particles vibrate faster, and it's less dense. It's more etheric, energetic. It's more kind of like airy. So if you think about ancient Lemuria, where they lived a little bit in, a little bit outside the body, they were operating in high vibrational frequency spaces in these higher dimensional densities. Okay, well, in a higher dimensional, lower densities, but dimensional densities also. So it's quite important, because a lot of the time people are like, oh, it's a higher density. No, it's not. It's a higher dimensional density, but from a frequency perspective, it's actually a lower density within itself, but a higher vibrational frequency. So sometimes it, with the language, it can get a bit confusing. Anyway, so there's two sides to this that I'm going to explain for you guys to understand how these things operate and work. So you have your density of soul consciousness, which is your density of your soul, which is your experience that you've had, your lessons, the many times that you've incarnated. And then you will have the dimensional densities that you exist in. So your 3D, your 4D, your 5D, and higher up. Okay. So for you guys to understand, I'm going to first explain the evolution of a soul's consciousness and the dimensional densities within the soul system, chakras, and energy field. So you will have something in first dimensional density, which just is, okay? In the second dimensional density. So your first dimensional density thing would be something like a rock. Okay, a rock would be your first dimensional density. Your second dimensional density, something is that it has consciousness of being, okay? So it would be something like a leaf, or like a strand of grass, or something like that. It's there, it's alive, it kind of knows that it's alive, but it can't really do much. It can't really take action or walk around, or like, yeah, it can, like photosynthesize and produce like chlorophyll and, make oxygen and stuff. But it's still not as evolved as a being that can actively interact, in the way that we can within third dimensional density and reality. Then you will have your third dimensional density in reality, where something is that has consciousness of being. It can now take action. However, it is still limited by the constraints of time and space. So time is still considered linear within the 3D, and space as well. You need to walk, you need to move to get to places, okay? A soul's consciousness density that is operating in your third dimensional density in reality would be, to some extent, you're human. Your animals would be between kind of like the higher tiers of the 2D, or the lower tiers of the 3D as well. So an ant will be a less developed soul consciousness on a organic linear evolutionary process. Okay, so I'm not talking about star seeds. I'm not talking about pets that have lived lives and reincarnated and come here. I'm talking from a organic timeline within the evolutionary processes perspective. Okay, so, and you guys are welcome if you need further expansion, explanation on some of these concepts, because I know they can be quite difficult to grasp the first time around, but just know that your soul will know and understand, and you will be able to integrate as I'm speaking. The codes of what I'm saying, the phonetics and the information is directly working on your DNA and structure. So basically what happens is, you know, your horses and your dogs and those, they will be a higher tier of second dimensional density, or a lower tier of third dimensional density evolutionary process of soul consciousness. Okay, then you get to your 4D. So your fourth dimensional density. So your 4D will be your astral space, your astral realm, your dream space. Okay, and again, here you'll have your lower, your middle, and your higher tiers. Here is where you will have most of the deception, most of the false light construct, the dark agenda, most of the co-created realities that that can trick you and affect you in a negative way. I think Ji Yang calls it the eighth sphere. So it's kind of like this construct. And the interesting thing is that a lot of people and a lot of energy workers and a lot of light workers sometimes get stuck. And this is when, you know, sometimes you will get some distortion, some delusion, some deception, and things like that. So your fourth dimensional density has everything from the 1, 2, and 3, because, you know, they're kind of like all overlapping. So something is, it has consciousness of being, it can take action. However, it is not limited anymore by the constraints of time, only by the constraints of space. So if you can think of when you're in the astral space and you're dreaming, time is fluid. You can manifest things instantly. However, you still need to walk, fly, run, drive, or whatever to get to places. Okay, so you can't like teleport. In your fifth dimensional density, it's all the below, and there's no limitation constraints of time and space. Now, what does this mean from an evolutionary perspective of the soul's consciousness? So a lot of starseed soul have evolved past the fifth dimensional density, even the 60, 70 and higher. Okay, sometimes what happens is souls, so something like the Rock Collective, the Christ Consciousness Expansion, they will merge within each other. So maybe like 5, 6, 7, or 8 souls will merge together in order to form a collective of souls, which would be your raw consciousness, that gets them closer to go back to source consciousness, because, you know, that's the whole cycle. That's where we go back to. And by doing that, you know, they start operating from the space of high vibrational frequency. But most of us who are here actually choose to keep on navigating and living through lessons. And sometimes we've had lifetimes in very high vibrational frequency planets and spaces like Pleiades, Lyra, Orion, within the Andromeda galaxy, you know. And then we choose to come back here. It doesn't necessarily mean that our soul's density is constrained to the third dimension density. Our soul can have evolved past that, but we choose to come back in a 3D body. And this is why a lot of star seeds that are doing the work that they're doing now can access these multidimensional parts and aspects of self, because their soul has actually evolved beyond the organic evolutionary timeline that Earth is on right now. They've been here before. They've done this before. What we are moving through as a collective is actually textbook ascension process. There needs to be, you know, a certain amount of people that reach a certain amount of frequency to be a certain specific shift that will happen, a certain expansion. And then it's also kind of like textbook disclosure that needs to come through, you know, in a certain way through certain beings. And obviously, like we all know, you know, the earth has been altered, manipulated. There's dark agenda. There's things that are going on that aren't in alignment with the organic evolutionary process of this timeline. And this is why, you know, we are where we are now, having these conversations, working to raise our vibrational frequency and working all together, you know, through unity and through love. And I think exactly as I think Neil was speaking a little bit about it, but Ishmael too, you know, we here to clear old Atlantean karmic timelines, and to make sure that we integrate technology in a way that is healthy and organic and productive to the evolutionary process. We can't go back. There's no going back, you know. So when I hear people say, oh, I'm going to go and live in the middle of nowhere and talk to no one and isolate myself. You can do that. You can do that. But it's counterproductive to the evolutionary process of humanity and of consciousness. So you're not contributing, you're not hindering it, but you're not really contributing either. You're just kind of like keeping the frequency on Earth or where it is now. And that's fine. That's also okay. That's choice. But I think for people to be like, no, let's turn completely away from technology and we can never see it again, like that's not going to help, because we need to move into a space where we learn to have the technology work for us in a way that is organic, that is anchored, and that is part of the evolutionary process. If you look at high vibrational frequency beings, they all use technology. They all have very advanced technology. They just use it in a way that is healthy, that is assisting them. It's in service to them. They are not in service to the technology itself. So, having said that, I now want to touch a little bit when it comes to fourth dimensional density and co-creating your reality, and using the astral space to do that as well. The astral space is very, very powerful. It's a really powerful space. And the reason I say that is because, again, it's a bridge. It's a bridge between the 3D and the 5D, okay? So all the dimensional densities are overlapping. So it's actually all existing here right now, including the 5D. And this is why when I say that the soul can be more evolved and operating on a multidimensional level, but still exist within the 3D. So you want to be living and operating in fifth dimensional density and higher, but living within the 3D. And that's when you really start co-creating. That's when you start manifesting. That's when the reality starts to open up and expand. And you're like, oh, okay, like I created this. I can do this. I am actually really powerful, And circling back to the 0 point neutrality, what does that mean? How do we do that? How do we live in 5D and in 3D at the same time? How do we have this mastery of this consciousness? And how is fasting part of the evolutionary rebirth? I'm going to actually speak about that. Thank you, Mike, for asking that. I will speak about fasting. It's a good point to ask. And yeah, and again, guys, if you have questions, I'm very happy to speak and answer them. So what happens is you basically reach this point where you release all attachment to polarity. You want to work on releasing all any attachment to identity. You want to get to a space where your ego is integrated in a way that is healthy. The ego is necessary. It keeps us anchored within the 3D. Okay, the ego is only a problem when it's creating blockages and is not allowing you to progress in a way that is organic within your timeline. So going back to the 0 point neutrality, it's a space you can reach with very deep meditation. However, the goal is really to actually live there and exist in a space where you are in 0 point neutrality. What does this mean? This doesn't mean that you're not feeling emotion. This doesn't mean that you're not processing, you're not crying, releasing, letting go. No, it means you don't allow them to control you and dictate the choices that you make within your life. Okay, and this is actually in some way a little bit harder for women than it is for men. But I think when you reach a space of 0 point neutrality, you are able to anchor in and you are able to stay in a space where you're outside of polarity, so you're able to see all the possible timelines and make the choices that are for your highest alignment. So all the timelines are possible, they all exist, they're all there. You just need to align with the one that is for your highest timeline. And how do you do that? You take aligned action. You make conscious decisions that bring you and throw you in the direction of your highest vibrational frequency timeline. How do you know that you're taking aligned action? How do you know that that is a decision that is for your highest alignment? You listen to your heart. You listen to your truth. You stay present. You stay outside of the polarity. How do you do that? You learn to control your emotions, okay? They can be present, they can be expressed, they can be released, but they cannot dictate how you navigate your life and the decisions that you make. So you can be crying because, I don't know, so and so broke up with you. But if you're allowing your emotion to dictate your decision, then you'll go back to them. If you're thinking rationally, actually, no, this person's not good for me. I'm going to cry a lot, but I'm going to still walk away. Okay, so this is a nice example to understand that you're operating from a high vibrational frequency space, still allowing your emotions to come through, but not letting your decisions be dictated by them. Okay, and remembering that your reality now in the present moment is the byproduct of the decisions that you have made in the previous month. So if you don't like where you are now, make different decisions. Okay. Step outside the comfort zone. That really is the best way to grow. Law of non-attachment. Yes. Well, I mean, it is, yeah, it is part of, I don't know if the non-attachment is a law in itself, but I would say that it is kind of like the releasing any attachment that is affecting you. And again, guys, you can have healthy attachment. The love a mother has for a child, it's a healthy attachment. Okay. So you have to let go of all the attachments that have been programmed within your system from societal constraints. So anything that isn't in alignment with your organic timeline and with the space of unconditional love and service to others, will be something that needs to be let go of and released. And I will tell you something more, guys. If you struggle to let go of the attachments, once you start walking down this ascension process, and the awakening path, you can't, there's no going back. So, even if you think you're stepping backwards, you're not, you're just moving forward. The universe will make you let go. And why does that happen? That happens when your heart needs to be cracked open. So you move through these intense emotions, this loss that can be the loss of a union, of a relationship. It can be someone's death. It can be the loss of a dream. It can be whatever it is, When you go through that pain of loss, that pain of attachment that is released, that there's like an empty hole in your heart and you're crying and you're crying and you don't think it's ever going to get better. And we've all been there, whether it was your heart broken at 13, or your husband leaving you after 25 years, it's the same frequency that gets released. Okay, why does it get released like that? It gets released like that so the heart can open up more, so you are able to hold more love moving forward, and you learn to fill that void with the love for yourself. That's what it all comes down to: unconditional self-love, the love for the self. Okay, and once you have that, once you start operating from that space, and once you don't need the external validations, the external attachments, the external relationships, whatever it is, that's when you can actually really properly attract a lot of what it is that you want. Okay, so really, really understanding that when you operate from that space, and it's all connected, it's connected to the 0 point neutrality, it's connected, as I said, to the non-attachment, it's connected to the heart expansion. And again, on this journey, and the energy workers present here will understand what I'm talking about. You get to a point where your heart opens up to a certain degree, and that's also, when your Merkaba starts activating and you start traveling on a multidimensional level. But regardless of that, you merge back into source consciousness from the heart center, and then you really start operating from a space of unconditional love. It's not about you. It's about the mission. It's about the greater good. It's about the collective. I like to do something called energetic triage, which is something that I teach all my clients who come whenever they do like the mentorships, or the business models or anything like that. And it's basically, okay, so I have 1 hour of time. In this hour of time, am I going to spend it responding to some person who messaged me on Instagram, or am I going to spend it doing a live where I can help, 75,000 people? You know what I mean? So it's really coming down to learning how to manage, your time and your energy, and really operating from that space of unconditional love. And once you understand and know how to do that, then it's also, it all grows exponentially. It's all kind of like a turning machine. The more love you put out there, the more love you get back. And if what you want to manifest is financial abundance, then give a lot, give more, give as much as you can without wanting anything in return. That's the catch. And when you start giving because you feel abundant, you are going to be that frequency, and the universe will recognize that, and it will bring you more of what it is that you want to manifest. And a good example of the manifestation, and again, everyone wants to manifest financial abundance because we need money to live. But what a lot of the people don't understand is that you don't manifest what you want, you attract what it is that you are. So you need to understand, if you want to manifest financial abundance, what do you want it for? You need to understand what you want it for. Do you want it for freedom, to be able to travel? Do you want it for safety, security, to buy a house? Let's say you want it for freedom. So a quick way to manifest in the quantum realm is getting to 0 point neutrality, or someone spoke the void. Yeah, there's a lot of different people that call it in a lot of different ways. I know Deepak Chopra also calls it another way. It's the same thing. And then you access the 0 point neutrality, and then you become the emotion of freedom. You become what it is that the financial abundance will give you. And by becoming that, you start to attract more of what it is that you want that will give you that. And maybe in the beginning, you want freedom, and it's not, you don't necessarily manifest money, but someone gifts you, I don't know, you win a weekend away. Do you know what I mean? That's the same thing. It's going to bring you freedom. Okay. So, really understanding that, yeah, there was a lot there that unpacked. And again, this is why I don't really give myself like schedules when I do these things, because it comes through what needs to be heard. Someone wrote about fasting. Okay, so again, guys, I'm not a medical person. I'm not giving medical advice to anyone. I live and speak based on my own personal experience. Everyone's system is different. What might work for me might not work for you. However, if there is something that I have learned and that I am aware of, is that when it comes to fasting and food, okay, and especially when it comes to food, I don't consume animal product. And the reason I don't do that is because, as I explained, the soul's evolution of consciousness, a cow is a lot more evolved from a soul's perspective than a plant. So if you're eating the cow, you're putting the karma, the density, the evolution of that soul, the experience of it within your body. If you're eating a plant, it's a less evolved thing, so it's going to be a lot less difficult for you to transmute it. Okay, so that's just like and if you guys want me to speak about more about the food aspect of it from the energetic perspective, I can do that as well. Just let me know in the comments, and I will speak a little bit more about that, or if you have questions on that. And again, this is from what I understand and how it works for me, and from what I've seen energetically in people's energy field, working with tens of thousands of clients. So fasting is a very good method to cleanse, clear, and release. And remember, whenever you do these things, you are building spiritual strength. Whenever you are breaking through your own barriers, whenever you are breaking through your own limitations, you are building spiritual strength. You're becoming spiritually and energetically stronger. And again, guys, you don't, to be like a co-creator of your reality, you don't have to meditate for 12 hours a day. Like there's, some methodologies that were applicable 2000 years ago, and they are still being used now, and they work, but it's quicker now. Things have shifted, they've changed. You can access things a lot more quickly. So I think fasting is great. I do intermittent fasting on a daily basis. Basically, I will have twice a year, maybe a 2 to 3 day fast. But it's really up to you. And by fast, I do still consume water. I did try dry fasting, like I think 2 years ago. I did 2 days, and it was just like, actually, no, sorry, it was not for me. Even my guides were like, babes, like, it's fine. You really don't have to dry fast. You can have water. They didn't say babes, but do you know what I mean? Um, okay, how do we fully activate and anchor a 12th strand DNA? Because I feel really called to meditate for hours and really connect and embody my highest self. Yeah, you can do that. That's great. If you feel like you need to do that, follow what you need to do. For me personally, I used to meditate very long, for like even up to like 2 or 3 hours, back in 2017 when my channel started open. 2017, 2018, also 2019, I would meditate a lot. I don't need to anymore now, because I'm operating most of the time from 0 point neutrality. So meditation is a tool like everything else. The goal of meditation is to get you to 0 point neutrality, okay? And operate from that. That's all it is. Yes, it can calm you, it can make you grounded, you can connect to your guides, it can manifest you, whatever. You really want to be living. You don't want to spend, 12 hours meditating for the rest of your life. I mean, you can if you want to, but you're here to live a human experience. So, if you feel like you need to meditate to activate more of your DNA, perfect, wonderful. You're following intuition, you're listening. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. You don't have to live your life like a monk, because a lot of time people come to me and they're like, oh, you must meditate a lot. And no, like, listen, I've got my practices. I wake up, I do my shielding. Sometimes I'll call in my guides when I'm driving, taking my kids to school. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't actually have time. I've got other things that bring me back in the now, in the present moment, but I'm at a point where now I don't need to meditate that long, because I'm already operating from this neutral space. from years of, practice and self-regulation and co-regulation. I work a lot with the somatic embodiment, so I do a lot of exercise, I do a lot of yoga, so I've got other meditation ways. But guys, you don't have to be a master meditator to live in a high alignment and operate from a 5D space, okay? How do you repair your DNA from unwanted modifications? So I don't know what you mean by unwanted modifications. Anything that's happened to you within this lifetime and experience, you have pre-contracted and agreed on before coming here. So if you feel like there are things that aren't serving you anymore for your highest alignment, my best advice to you would be to do the Declaration of Sovereignty. You can find it on my website. You really just sit and read it. It works on clearing and releasing any superimposed karmic overloads that you pre-contracted and agreed on before coming here that aren't serving you anymore for your highest alignment. Any AI, any dark agenda, anything that's in your system that you didn't ask for it to be there and you need to come on to leave will leave. Sovereignty will work every single time. So if you feel like there's an implant, if you feel like there's something in your field that shouldn't be there, talk to it. Hey, like, you're not supposed to be here. Can you fix yourself? Can you leave? Like, I don't want you here. I'm a sovereign being. You know what I mean? I think that would probably be the easiest way. Or you can, yes, thank you, Debbie, for posting the link to the Declaration of Sovereignty. My advice is everyone should do this. I do it every like 3 or 4 months. You don't have to do it like often. You do it once, you'll feel things clear, you'll feel things released. I didn't channel it. I don't know who channeled it. I wish I could because I would give them credit, but it came to me. I found it. I can't even remember where, like maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I was only allowed to release it publicly in November of 2021. I still remember making a video and releasing it publicly. Before that, it was like, no, actually, you're not allowed to. It's a little bit too much pleasure, Dennis. So yeah. So remembering that, again, you're a sovereign being, and if you feel like something is there that shouldn't be there, and again, if you struggle, you can come to practitioners, like me or Debbie or Josie or any one of the other guys that were here, and we can assist you with that. But for me, I always try to say, like, great, come to me, I'll help you. I don't want you to need me. Like, I actually turn clients away when they start coming to me too much, because I'm like, you please, can you not have this attachment and codependency? Like, you must learn to do it yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah. Mm,
Can I ask you? I'm not
yeah.
sure if you're going to do a quick, I have questions for you, but
Yes.
you're also so, so powerful. I felt activated just listening to you. And I love, thank you so much for connecting this idea of neutrality and the 0 point. I know that has been really powerful in my life. And people were asking, I know sometimes that feels confusing, but to understand that is the quantum no thing, meaning it is the space where nothing exists. So, into that space of no thing or nothing is where you can put anything, is what you're
Correct.
talking about.
Yes. 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 Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And will you do an activation for us? Because we have you here
Yeah.
and it's
Yes.
amazing.
I've actually lost track of the time. I'll do some light language now, yeah. And you
Beautiful.
guys are welcome. If you have more questions, I can answer one or two after. I think we're still doing quite good on time. So I'm going to
Great.
pull through some codes. Yeah, you guys can start by closing your eyes and anchoring into the body as you find your comfortable breathing rhythms. With every inhale, you breathe in light, and with every exhale, you release all that doesn't serve you anymore. Relaxing body system and energy field. You stay in a space of openness and oneness. As we call on the Archangelic Collective, Michael to the south, Uriel to the north, Raphael to the east, Gabriel to the west. We call on Archangel Metatron with his blue cloak of protection from above, and Sandalphon to seal the grid from below. As we call on our higher selves as spirit guides, and anyone else who wishes to be present for the greatest and highest good, you're welcome in this space. Opening, opening, opening systems, opening, 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 activating, activating, calling in more light. sheto korokot krasiera tata, tiara tre 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 krokora tre aisha ya takra koroko aisha, shukorokot krease asieto ko atkiara tra, tre tre korokot ka kia tre asiero korokot kraisia, shukrokuare tre asiera tra, shenara tra tre atkie korokot ka siase riara tra, tre tre korokora ise raishra tra anchoring anchoring anchoring, 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 expanding, expanding, more light, divine rays, anchoring, 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 expanding, expanding codes of knowledge coming in, attuning systems, attuning, opening, opening. Na ishutuko releasing, letting go, go of all that doesn't serve you. You clear, you release, surrendering into more light, divine rays, anchoring, na tashito kurukut krasia rese kurukura kia takarat kri aishara ya takar kurukuru ishina taka tieto kuraya takata na ishiro kurukut kara ishina tarata kuchira kat kriat attuning into more light, divine rays. We are here to help. We are here to assist, to ground more light and love within your systems. Opening the heart, expanding, trusting yourselves, trusting your heart, trusting your light, bringing in codes of knowledge coming in, codes of remembrance, anchoring, activating memory, activating new constructs, activating, connecting synapses, neurotransmitters, activating, opening. Attuning systems to more light, divine rays, expanding, pulling in, anchoring, grounding, more light, golden light coming in, or rays, rainbow rays, anchoring, platinum white light, anchoring, surrendering to more light, divine rays, surrendering, surrendering, letting go, 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 attuning, 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 balancing, attuning, balancing, balancing, balancing systems, balancing, 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 masculine, feminine, balancing, balancing. Balancing, 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 balancing. It is time to open up to the self. Open up to more love, open up to more light, open up to the memory. It is time to anchor the memory into the system, into the blueprint structure. Expanding, expanding, expanding. It is time to expand, expand, expanding, 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 attuning, 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 attuning. It is time to trust. Trust, 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 codes of trust coming in, anchoring, anchoring, grounding, 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 grounding. Grounding, 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 grounding. Grounding, anchoring, 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 grounding, 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 clean peripheral, clean, releasing, 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 closing, sealing, 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 closing, sealing, sealing, closing, sealing, 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 closing, 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 sealing, 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 closing, 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 anchoring, 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 grounding, 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 grounding. Okay.
Fantastic. How do you feel after that?
So, for everyone who's listening, you can gently come back to the body or you can stay in process, whatever feels best for you. For me, yeah, I mean, it gives me a lot of energy. I definitely like wouldn't be able to go to sleep now. I mean, I can switch off my nervous system quite quickly, but it does take me a little bit to almost like get tired. It gives me like a lot of energy. But because my channel is very integrated, I don't. It's not like I tune in and out. Like it's kind of like always there. You know what I mean? It's just like an extra surge of energy whenever I'm bringing through. And obviously, if I'm channeling for a bigger collective, it will require more to come through than if I'm just channeling maybe for one person. When my channel was opening up and expanding a few years ago, my guides actually started saying to me I was like I was quite thin, you know, and I didn't really have a lot of muscle in my upper body. And they were like, you actually need to start putting on muscle on your upper body so that you can withstand the intensity of the channel that will send through your heart center. So your physical needs to become stronger so you can hold the channel from an energetic and physical perspective.
I love how they talk to you. I thought that was hilarious when you, even though they didn't call you babes, but
Yeah.
they were saying, babes, like, don't do the dry fasting. It's not right for you. And then they're saying, build on some muscle. You're going to need it to sustain the energy that's going to be pouring through you. And I imagine if you're in this now 24/7, it's probably changed the molecules of who you are, your very DNA.
Well, yeah, so what happened with me was quite interesting. I had a specific chakra system within me, and then that was taken out. A different one was put in when I had to navigate through the soul of my child. And then when that was taken out, my old one, after she was 1 year old, more or less, that one was taken out. My old one was re-put in, but it was upgraded. And then what happened is I had about, I think it was seven different chakras, seven or no, it was 12. I had 12 different chakra systems that were operating around my system. So it was like my system was here, and then there were 12 different chakra systems on a multidimensional level operating around me. This was back in 2022. And then it took about a year for those to integrate and merge in within my system as it is now. So I actually did a lecture on this at the Conscious Life Expo last year on how the channel is actually multidimensional, because when we start activating all the DNA and we start operating from the light body in itself, the whole system is one big channel that is operating on different multidimensional levels. So I was actually shown when mine started being more integrated back in between 2021 2022 it's almost like I absorbed in like 12 different other like literal like channels of energy within my own.
And so, if that took place, if one chakra system got out of the way for your child, and then once she was born, is it she? It came back, and then you had 12, feels like a closet of 12 chakras, and then they all started to integrate. What is your child like? Is he or she very, very gifted?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the kids that are coming through at this moment in time, they're definitely like on a whole other level,
Yeah.
especially, like I did a lot of energetic work from a karmic level when I was pregnant, just because, those of you who
Wow.
are here, some of you might know my story. I went through a very abusive relationship that I was able to, navigate and then release. And so I had to work through all that karma and make sure that it was cleared before the child actually came through. So it was definitely quite an interesting experience. My system I needed to navigate that within my system to, be able to bring her through. But then once that was done, it was almost like that system that was in me wasn't needed anymore. So I could go back to my old original chakra system and energy field. So the systems that I integrated externally were all systems that had all the chakras within them. So it wasn't one different chakra. It was almost like there were like 12 humans around me with their own systems, basically. It was insane. Like, I remember going to an energy worker. This was like back in 2021, and I knew that this was happening. And I was given her contact from like a colleague of mine. Anyway, long story short, she was actually scared. She was like, I've never seen this before. She was like, I don't know if you're gonna be okay. And I'm like, no, babe, like it's fine. Like I know. I'd gone to her for another reason, and she saw this, and she was like, it was like she couldn't capacitate herself. And I'm like, no, like this is right. Like this should be happening. I know that this is going on. So again, like this is my experience. I do activations that help people open up more of their chakras. So I do like a 13 chakra attunement for clients who come to me that helps with activating the higher heart, the soul star, the earth star, the hand chakras, the feet, the tongue, the ears, and a whole different array of chakras. So yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I do 6 week and 6 month programs as well. I train guys, and I train clients to do what I do on a one-on-one online, and I am running an in-person training in Los Angeles in February. So I'm only taking 10 people. I do have a few spaces that are already booked, but if you are in LA, and this is like, I'm not going to be doing this again. This is like a once off. It's like a light language and ascension training that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be 5 days from 10 a.m. to like 4 p.m. every single day. There'll be a lot of activations. I'm going to have a guest on that will be doing a life force activation as well. You're going to receive energy work every single day. So that's the next kind of like big thing, that I'm going to be doing. I don't really do a lot of public appearances. I will be at the Conscious Life Expo. So for those of you who are there, you'll see me there. And then just after that, like the week after that, I will be doing this training in LA. But I do one-off sessions as well. Also, like, light language activations and attunements and Akasha clearings and a whole bunch of things. I'll leave my website here.
Yes, definitely. And a lot of love out there for you. Thank you, Althea. Powerful as always. It's a lot to integrate. It is. And by the way, I've got my little machine. I started with hydrogen, which you can only have once a day, but the rest is ozonated water. So I'm just making my water while I'm sitting here. Make sure you ground. This is powerful. And again, you can put into that no thing what it is you want to manifest. There is literally a portal open today to assist you. So, no effort, right? No struggle. Mikhail wrote, it always feels so awesome and powerful, your activations, Althea, and the whole drawing in more light. It resonates so much with me. It really is a big tool. How to raise my frequency. Thank you. Always so activating. Beautiful. Someone else, much love. Thank you. And again, today, 8/8 is called Lionsgate because it occurs in the astrological sign of Leo. And the gateway is marked by an alignment between our Earth and the star Sirius. At this time, the constellation of Orion, the belt of Orion, also aligns with the pyramids of Giza, and it activates the opportunities for all of us to expand our awareness and elevate our consciousness. And what I always tell the people that I work with, so important when you're manifesting for yourself, remember as you're elevating, include the earth, the beautiful Mother Earth, include the cosmos, the benevolent beings that we're in connection with, include all of humanity. That's why we all came here. That's why our souls agreed to do this. So when you're manifesting, go real big for yourself, but also for the earth and for all of humans.